All right, boys and girls, welcome back. So today we got the engine out, jumped ahead a few steps, and I'll show you what's going on in here now. I ended up just doing this banjo setup. This is like 36 bucks. So usually pull an engine in and out, the factory line comes up really high and then bends over 180 and comes over and follows this. So pull an engine in and out, it's really easy to smash this thing, and I smashed it before. So instead of finding a replacement factory line that I knew I'd probably break again, I did this banjo setup. So the banjos, these are like M14 by 1 to -4, I believe. And I can put links in the description, remind me if I forget. And this line here was like 12 bucks. It's just a 12-inch -4 flexible brake line. So I did use some Rector Seal 5 on the inside of there for thread sealant. But it does have the little crush washers on there, so that should work out pretty decent, and I'll let you guys know if I have any problems with it or leaks or anything. But other than that, 36 bucks and she's all good. Engine is over here. I'm going to do the shifter relocation set. That's what's in the box down there, and a couple other things. So I did put the crank sensor on. We've got to do a couple other sensors, like I bought a new cam sensor for it, so putting new sensors in. I'm going to do the bungs here for the drain. These are the -10 bulkhead fittings that I'm going to put in the front of the pan, so we can do that today. And I do have to get a new bolt for the alternator down here, a longer bolt. It doesn't go in all the way, and I'm going to go pick another one up. So I did write dipstick on my to-do list because I got to add the dipstick on. And if you guys remember, I did do that when I originally did the swap on this car. I forgot to put a dipstick in the engine, and I went to go drive it, and it was just pissing oil everywhere. So we're going to remember to do that this time. And I'll show you the fitting that I'm going to use for the oil feed. So I've been eyeballing this banjo fitting for quite a while, but it's like $40, and it's kind of expensive, so I just didn't really do it, especially with doing the budget build stuff on the truck. I didn't really want to spend the money on it, but I really like this fitting because it's a banjo that you can run to an oil feed. So I just put a T on there because I'm doing 2 feed lines, but it allows you to keep your factory oil pressure sending unit. So it basically just has the M16 1.5 extension banjo, put the oil sensor in there, and then you can run oil line for your turbo feed. So really cool fitting. Came from Australia, so had to pay a little bit of extra shipping for that, but thing's really cool. I got in my oil feed fittings. So these are 7/16 24 inverted flare to a -4 fitting. So I did end up contacting VS Racing and asking him what size this was just to verify, and he got back to me in 11 minutes. So that's awesome service there. I didn't have to wait at all to figure out what kind of fitting I needed to get. So I keep calling these the GT3582s. If you look on the VS Racing site, they're listed as like the 6162s, I believe, but it says GT3582 in the description, and they used to have them listed as 3582. So if you hear that and you're looking for it on the site, that's why you're not finding them, because they're the 6162s. So I'm sure a lot of you guys probably already know that, but I do get a lot of questions about that because I just call them 3582s and people are like looking for it. They can't find them, so they're wondering what the hell I'm talking about. So I wanted to explain it. So let's get to the shifter linkage. Alrighty, make rice cakes. So the first step in the kit says to bust this shifter linkage off, and it actually does show in the instructions to use a crescent wrench. So maybe we'll do that, maybe not. We'll try it, see how it goes. I'm going to try to grab a smaller one to actually get in there. Work this little guy off the U-joint, and then this bracket is going to go over the U-joint. Yeah, I'm definitely glad I pulled the transmission back out. I thought about trying to do this inside the car, but glad I didn't do that. All right, so I think we pretty much got everything done now. It's pretty self-explanatory. I didn't really want to go through all the whole thing. It's real easy. Just bolt these on. Bolt these on. After you do what I did before, you split the thing off the U-joint and then bolt the other piece on, put the shifter in, and it's pretty much assembles just like a normal shifter. So we got all the ears. And reverse. Everything is good. Okay, so I got the new bolt for the alternator. So that thing is good. I went ahead and I bought all new bolts to hold this thing down. So these are all freshies. A little bit longer. The factory bolts didn't really seem like they caught. Either that or I was using the wrong bolts. So I just went and got all new ones because I was already at the store. So that's all done. And I started working on the fuel lines. So I kind of definitely had some oversight when I was planning the fuel system. And I had to order some new things, and I still probably have to order a couple other fittings. So I decided I was going to go with a 1/2 inch feed and a 3/8 return. So I ran that from the front to the back, and you can see the 2 lines on the right there I actually cut off. Used a tubing cutter, cut those old lines off. One was the evap, I think, and the 5/16 was the actual hardline fuel feed. So going from the 5/16 over there on the right to the 1/2 inch feed, and I use these little electrical tie down thingies to hold the fuel lines in. So I took the old fuel line bracket out, used the same bolt with the same hole, put those things in there, and then ran them up to here. And then my plan, I got to pick up some more of these. That's why I didn't do it yet, but I'm gonna run these over here kind of tight against the firewall under this little lip, and then up to the pressure regulator. So that's the plan with that. I also took this thing. This is the LOJ bracket that is supposed to extend the power steering lines away from the little cross member thing here. But I'm not using this because the way I did my manifolds, the factory truck manifolds forward, it's a little bit close to these, so these are kind of like bent out, rubbing against it, especially if I use this. They were touching, so I ended up using another one of those little wiring connectors and then slammed it right into the rail there. This basically pulls the power steering lines away, and they're not going to be touching the exhaust anymore. Going back underneath the car, this is where the lines are coming out. I just bent the little flange for the fuel tank out of the way. I might do some more to protect these lines, but basically going to run them right along here underneath, and probably use some more of those ties, and basically just going to run it right in this little channel here. Tie these things up. There really isn't a good way to get them over to this section where the factory fuel lines are without the lines hanging down really low. So I'm just going to suck them up here, and then they'll kind of be able to cross over into that section. There. So I might even cut some more of these lines out and just remove those other lines because I don't really need them, but that's the plan for this. And really learning a lot about the car as we kind of go through and take everything apart. So pull this little panel off. That orange panel was right here. So got the little Hyphonics amp in this little cubby hole here. And then lifting this thing up, remove that little plate, and then you got the fuel hat down there, and you can see the 2 lines that I have coming out, and a whole bunch of wiring. So little did I know, I did not know, but I found this out, that is actually a 3/8 quick connect, but it necks it down to a 5/16 line. I don't know why that is. I don't know why they did that, but it is actually a 3/8. But I wish I would have known that earlier. That might have changed my thought process, but we're doing the big feed and the 3/8 return now, so that's good. So my plan originally was to just kind of throw the pump in the tank and then use the 5/16 line, or just use the factory stuff, hook it up just to get it running and driving first. But I thought it was a 5/16 the whole way. I didn't know that it was a 3/8 on the hat, neck down to a 5/16. So I didn't want to use the 5/16. So that's what kind of swayed me to actually running the other line. I had the -8 or the 1/2 inch Parker push lock on the shelf from when I did the truck. So I had enough to actually run front to back here, so that I just had it sitting there. So why not do it if it's there? So now it's ran, but I do have a fitting that looks like this. It's a 3/8 quick connect to a -8. So, and then I have a bunch of -8 fittings to push lock. So if I really wanted to do it with just the factory pump, I could still do it, but now I have the lines already ran to do the return when I wanted to do that. So just if I wanted to do like a test fire or something like that with a single line and no return. So overall in a better spot, even though it's going to take me probably a little bit longer because I got to wait on, you know, some other fittings and stuff like that to come in to finalize this. But what I'm going to start doing now is lift the engine up. I'm going to get the oil pan off, drill the holes for the -10 bulkheads that are in there, and then we can put that on and get the engine back in the car. And that should be the final time that I have to put the engine in the car until it runs. So that's, like I said, why I wanted to get, you know, this line done and the fuel lines done and cut those things off and do everything that I needed to do in the engine bay before I put the engine back in there. And I am taking a little bit more time with this one, guys. I hope you guys realize that and notice that. Instead of, you know, like I did the truck, everything was just do it quick and do it cheap. This one I'm taking a little bit more time, not worrying as much about cost, and just trying to plan ahead a little bit more and think about what I am going to be doing, what I might be upgrading later. So I could have just gotten it running quick on a small fuel line, but this would have been hard to run this stuff up with the engine in there, and just kind of planning ahead and thinking about stuff I might want to upgrade later. Like the truck, I upgraded the fuel system 2-3 times already, and now I'm going to be doing it again probably later this week. So don't want to do that with this one. Just want to do it once, get it done, get it in there, drive it, have fun. All right, so I guess we're going to go for it. I can't really get my hands in anywhere else on the inside of it to be able to put the bulkheads on, so I'm gonna do the stainless bungs. We're gonna grind this off and weld these things on there. So I'm gonna try to do a nice little spot, and then we'll try to keep it cool enough so the rest of the powder coat doesn't peel off. But I mean, you can only do what you want to do, I guess. Alright guys, so this is going to be the first time ever, my first time ever using stainless, TIGging stainless. I'm going to use a stainless rod because these are stainless and bungs. And first time also using a gas lens. So I have a number 6 gas lens on and gonna try it. I'll just see how it goes. What else could go wrong? guys, so here we have the finished product. This one side, if I can get it to focus the right way. They look okay. Like I said, first time using stainless rod and stainless material. First time using gas lens. This one was my first time ever doing like a standing TIG weld, so that was kind of cool, interesting. But sometimes you just have to move around. I couldn't get it seated, so it's nice to have when you're TIG welding. It's nice to have everything in like a perfect position, but sometimes you can't do that. So that's what I came up with on the last one. This one probably looks better than the other one. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to scuff down some of these bubbles, and then I'll probably tape it off, and I think I'm just going to paint it. I'm going to mask off the threads here and probably just throw some black paint on it and throw it in the car. Alrighty, so we got this thing all welded up, taped up, masked off, and started to paint it all black again. So I laid it on pretty thick. Tried to lay it on thick enough to where you couldn't really even see the lines that kind of ate away at the powder coat when I was welding. So try to kind of fill that in a little bit. You can see the little ripple, but we'll see how it goes. I'm probably going to stand it up. Might try to do the same thing on this side. You can see the little bow in there. I might try to stand it up. Try to cover up that ripple. Like on the top, you can't really even see it, but you'll probably be able to see it thick on the tape line. So I don't know, horse a piece. So either way, looks pretty decent. Back to the gloss black-ish. Probably won't be able to see it unless you're really looking for it. So hopefully it'll turn out okay. That's about it for this one, guys. I really wanted to get the engine back in the car today. That was kind of my goal, but I think I'm happy with where we're at. So that thing's drying. I'm gonna let that dry overnight, then put it back on the engine, then we'll start to get this thing back in there. So overall, I think I'm pretty happy with today. Got a lot done. Got the shifter stuff on, fuel lines taken care of, all kinds of stuff going on. So that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Like, comment, subscribe. Click the bell, ring the thing, do the subscribe, do the thing. Just do some stuff.